days left in the year. Good morning, MV, guiding you through In the Know at K105. We are on Litchfield's Country Station, 103.9 The Moose, live online at K105.com. We are via the Apple and Android smartphone app, using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, Twitter, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Plus, we've got Point to Ponder, Chart Toppers, Pearl of Wisdom, a whole bunch more coming up here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire. She's my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. So actually, good morning, right?
I haven't seen you since, at home this morning, but I've not seen you since you walked in the building, even though you've been here a while. You've been entertaining guests and
it's always good to see Ken Hallett. So
yes, you getting caught up in that. But I realized I hadn't said hello to you since you've been in the building. I hope you didn't take me as rude.
Oh, I didn't. No.
Woman's World. I know you read the magazine. The publication religiously says whistling a tune can double your energy in minutes. Researchers say creating music perks up the mind and body. You're anti-whistling.
I am anti-whistling. I'm sorry.
And why is that?
I don't know. It just gets on my. Well, not my last nerve, but it really gets on my nerve.
But do you find it odd that your favorite Disney movie is Snow White, and that's the movie that brought us Whistle While You Work?
I guess it could be perceived that way. I love Snow White.
Okay.
And I love the dwarfs.
That shows you how much you love Snow White. You're willing to overlook the whistling dwarfs. Okay, I got it. It makes perfect sense. Thank you for clearing that up. Over there in chair number 2, we say good morning and welcome back. She is Grayson County Extension Services Agriculture Agent, Miss Whitney Carmen. Morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome back. It's good to see you.
Yep, glad to be here.
Right after you left this time last week, you were about, you were about 18 hours ahead of your field day that you had last Thursday. Spent the day down on the Schartzer Farm at Falls of Rough.
Yes.
How'd that go?
It was great. We had close to 80 participants and it was perfect weather and learned a lot, and so it was a good program.
That it doesn't ever turn into bragging though, does it? About, like my farm's this and your farm's that. And
not necessarily. No. If you know Jerry is not the bragging type. So
no, I don't know Jerry's not, but when you put that many people together, does it kind of turn like into farm version of fishtails?
Yes, a little bit, but I also think that in those situations, I think that's where most people get their information, and that's where they learn the most, is they talk to each other. That to me is the best form of things that I can do in Extension, is get these people together so that they can talk about things.
It's such a neat fraternity.
Sure is.
Of people, farming is, depending upon how you look at it, farmer is either the oldest or second oldest profession.
It depends.
Some people say the oldest profession is, but but farming is early on, but it's such a historical part of our world, and agriculture is how we eat. But even down through the generations that I'm part of, just seeing the family farm and its importance and the networking, and you're kind of at the hub of that. You're kind of the hub around all those farming spokes, and you get to network and connect people and say, this guy's having this problem. Oh, well, this family over here has dealt with that, and here's how maybe you can solve that problem.
Yeah. I say I'm in the people business more than I am the agriculture business, because it's my job to figure out what they need and find the people that can help them.
Yep. And about to go through another busy season with the harvest. That's what people are going to be spending the next, 6-8 weeks on, trying to bear the fruits of their labor, so to speak. We are going to see a warm and dry weather pattern continuing for today. Our dry conditions continue, which is everything's drying out, and you're seeing more dust. You're seeing the leaves turn more rapidly. We will continue to inch closer to the upper 80s today. It'll be partly cloudy, a high of 86. We'll see partly cloudy, 62 overnight tonight, and partly cloudy, a high of 86 on Thursday. Fall begins officially on Saturday. We will get back into the 70s once we get to Tuesday next week for our highs. Okay, national news headline for today. Former President Donald Trump is apparently not going to participate in the next Republican presidential debate, and instead he is going to visit the battleground state of Michigan to meet with striking auto workers. I mean, he says it basically, and I think his campaign is basically saying he's already running against Joe Biden, who they presume would be the Democratic nominee, although I think many people are not convinced that he will be. But former President Trump says he's so far ahead in the polls that he doesn't really have to worry about his Republican challengers. He's just moved on to the general election already. He may or may not be right. But as a voter and as a citizen, as somebody who eventually has a vote in this race, no matter what party you're in, do you think that a presidential candidate should appear in debates ahead of the conventions? Do you?
I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know.
He doesn't fit the historical political mold by any stretch of the imagination. Were he a normal candidate, if you will, I would say absolutely. But
Yeah.
if you're so far ahead,
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't know, with everything going on legally, I just, when are those worlds going to, I don't know how that's all going to work. That's why I have a hard time saying, even knowing who's going to be the candidate or how they're going to choose that, you know?
here, if I were President Trump's people, here's what I would instruct him to do.
Don't say much.
Well, tighten the things that you talk about. One, ask what was it about my presidency that you didn't like other than mean tweets?
Right.
Right? You liked the economy.
Sure.
You probably liked our nation's defense. You probably liked us standing up to powers around the world. You probably liked those things.
We weren't in war.
And guess what? Guess what else they did? They addressed the border situation, which is on many Americans' minds. So here's what I would do if I were former President Trump. I would just go acting like the current president. I would hop on Trump Force One and go to the border. I would go meet with the auto workers. I would have been in Maui. I would have been at Lahaina before Biden, just acting presidential and trying to draw people's attention to these things because his opponents are just going to say January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th.
Right.
That's all they're going to talk about ahead of an election featuring Donald Trump. They're going to try to draw your attention back to riot, insurrection, whatever it is, whatever label
Right.
you want to put on it. So
Yeah.
I think if he just goes on acting presidential, it goes a long way toward people going, wait, he's still the president.
Yeah. And some people may think that.
As far as like debates or whatever, what if a member of his staff like had a button and he had like a shock collar? So like when he got off the rails or whatever,
think
he got a little zap.
I think that could be said for both parties, though.
That's true. But
I mean, on
I
either
like
side of
Donald
that.
Trump. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm just saying it's an idea.
Hey, we give away, historically, we've always given away our best ideas on the show.
know.
If we could come up with a modified version of a shock collar, I bet we could sell one to our former president people and our current president's
what I'm
people.
saying, yeah.
I mean, the Biden people want one of these more than the Trump people want. It's like, back,
Well, and that's
get back
not-
on the prompter.
Once again, I'm not going to make light of the situation because I really do think that there is something health-wise going on that they're just not saying. But it makes you wonder sometimes when they go off script. And, I have done that a few times with Trump and with Biden. So it could be said, that's why I said for either party, it could be useful.
Yes.
We're going to look
I can
back.
think of other uses for it now.
Yeah.
The more I think about
If
it.
we're fortunate enough to survive, we're going to look back on this season of American politics, and we're going to suffer a huge amount of embarrassment.
Yes.
If we're not already embarrassed, we're going to be when we get beyond this season. We did tell you this time yesterday about the passing of former Kentucky Governor Brereton Jones. Current Governor Beshear directed on yesterday, that flags at all state office buildings be flown at half-staff in honor of former Governor Jones, who passed away on Monday at age 84. Now, the only thing that's confusing about that is his order will remain in effect until sunset on the day of his interment, but that's not yet been announced. So the family has not announced plans or what's going to happen or anything like that. So I guess flags are at half-staff on state government buildings until Governor Jones was the 58th governor of Kentucky, held the office from 91 to 95. I did see an unfortunate report by a television outlet in the state yesterday that said he was the lieutenant governor to Walter Wilkerson.
Okay.
And I'm like, We never had a governor named Walter Wilkerson. We had Wallace Wilkinson. And so, but
I was going to say a few letters off.
yeah, it was misspelling on times two and mispronunciation. But now, in their defense, it was pretty common. Wallace Wilkinson was our governor, but about 80% of Kentuckians called him Wilkerson. Governor Wilkerson. No, it's Wilkinson. I also was thinking about yesterday. I told you that Governor Jones brought back, he tried to restore ethics to state government in the wake of Bop Trot. And so that's one of the reasons we have the ethical control measures that we have today in state government that we did not have before then. But the other thing that he was instrumental in doing is he was kind of an early adopter of universal health care. And one of the byproducts of him trying to force universal health care in Kentucky was many insurance companies bailed on Kentucky between 91 and 95, which has led, you know how hard it is to find a provider or to compare providers for health insurance in Kentucky? You have Brereton Jones to thank for that.
Yeah.
Because the insurance company said, you're going to hold us to these standards. We're out. We'll go somewhere else and do business.
Did he not do the term limit as well? Did he not get that changed?
He did. Yeah, and we mentioned, I'm glad you brought that up because we talked about that yesterday. It used to be governor ran for governor, lieutenant governor ran for lieutenant governor, and they were term limited to one term.
Sure.
And he said these constitutional offices should get 2 terms. But not for me. This will go into effect after I leave office.
Yeah.
So it
I
was
thought
a very
that was a good idea.
It was a very selfless thing. So, Litchfield City Council voted earlier this week to close the alley off of West Main Street to pedestrian traffic. It's the little alley that cut through behind. I don't know what we're now calling it because we've kind of gone back in time. It was Big 7, and then it was Discount Interiors, and now it's like, is it back to Big 7? So between the old Western Auto building and the Big 7 building, that alley, which is dangerous, they're closing that to pedestrian traffic. So they first started talking about it in August, and they are going to do that. So you'll still be able to walk through there, I think.
I was going to say, you could get yourself caught because there'd be 2 people trying to get there through that alley through the same time, and
It's kind of like it's kind of like the road to Hana. Have you ever been on Maui and you've gone to the road to Hana? Sometimes you get at a point of impasse where you go, who was here first? And there's no backing up hardly,
No,
so it's
that's
kind of a tough thing. Also, hearing was recently held by the Code Enforcement Board where the demolition of the property at 214 Central Avenue was discussed. The board found the property is in a state of disrepair and increased risk to the safety and well-being of the surrounding property owners. The board further recommended the city council to issue a demolition order to the property owner. And they did accept the recommendation, first reading of zone change for the 0 Central Avenue. A Grayson County man has been arrested on drug and assault charges after allegedly taking LSD. This happened Friday night about 6:50. First responders reported to the 300 block of Scherer Drive to a report that 25-year-old Ian Robbins of Litchfield was out of control. They found Robbins had assaulted a male. When they made contact with him inside the home, he was incoherent and talking and making no sense, according to the citation. He was. They eventually found drugs in his room, and he was arrested and faces multiple felony charges. There you go. By the way, if you're watching, you see this photo. Are we kicking it old timey now on booking photos? I was like, is that a black and white photo?
Black and white.
I'm like, we're kicking it old school. Okay. An Eastern Kentucky man. Oh, this is tragic. I thought it was timely when I saw that bees were in the headline, and I don't think you quite hear of someone dying as a result of bees, but a Eastern Kentucky man has died after being attacked by a swarm of bees. The Harlan County Coroner's Office said the 59-year-old male died last night about 5:50 after he moved an old bag of potting soil from his porch and was stung by a swarm of bees from inside the bag.
I have questions.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is very unlikely in most cases to get to die from the sheer amount of bees stinging you. So did he have anaphylaxis? Is that what maybe caused it? Was he allergic to bees? And he got, because people that you can die from a bee sting if you are that bad allergic to them.
Absolutely. People have to go to special measures. They go,
Sure.
I can't risk being stung. So yeah, that could be that he went into some type of anaphylactic shock. But a footnote on this story, the CDC says 788 people died in the United States from attacks by bees between 2011 and 2021.
Yeah,
so over
but
a period of 10 years, 788.
Yeah, but attacks, or once again, is
Right.
it the byproduct of the sting? I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm just being,
got
I'm being
it.
a little bit of a devil's advocate
Curious
here.
too. Also very interested, don't have a lot of detail, but I did see a national news story yesterday that they think they've made a breakthrough on a new nasal spray that would take the place of EpiPens.
Oh, that would be amazing if that's the case.
Because if you think about it like in a Narcan sense, if Narcan has the ability to do what Narcan does nasally, then you would think they could be able to do, I guess that's epinephrine in those pens, that they might be able to do something similar.
Yeah.
So
It'll
anyway.
be interesting because, like I said, in my realm of dealing with students that I do deal with and my kids, I've got Caroline has an EpiPen that she has to keep, but it's, that's scary for those kids. If they can just do a nasal spray, that's a
Yes.
lot easier, and a lot of those products that you have to use in case of emergency have gone to nasal. So that's good.
Yep. So it's be interesting. That may be commonplace before we know it. The Kentucky Supreme Court yesterday heard an argument from Kentucky Democrats that were challenging the Republican-drawn boundaries for state house and congressional districts. The hearing focused at times around a lower court ruling that said the new maps did not violate the state constitution. Franklin County Circuit Judge Thomas Wingate concluded that the new boundaries amounted to partisan gerrymanders, but said the Constitution does not explicitly forbid the consideration of partisan interest in apportioning representation. So while it might look goofy and it's not very practical, it doesn't appear that perhaps there are any protections from it in the state constitution. Supreme Court Justice Kelly Thompson, I like Kelly Thompson for appeals judge, said that that's the old one. The new one is I like Kelly Thompson.
Yes. I'm not ready
Do you
for
think
all
he
of that
sings
again.
that every day? Oh, he doesn't have to run again for a while, so you're in good shape. He said that the issue looms as the crux of this matter as the High Court reviews the redistricting case. Judge Thompson pointedly asked an attorney for the Democrats whether the court had ever invalidated newly drawn districts based solely on the grounds of gerrymandering. Michael Abate, the attorney, said, "Not yet." Like, you could be the first if you want to set precedent. So my guess is we're too far down the river to change that.
Yeah,
I think,
I was going to say, because it was, why didn't they do that originally? But you know how the system works. It takes forever.
I do want to remind our legislature is that, listen, I'm a conservative, I'm a registered Republican, and most of the things that the ideals and the principles of where they're taking things, philosophically I agree with. Mm-hmm. But I would caution any party that has so much power like that overplaying your hand to the point where you are just basically trying to, there are differences of opinion and people have different schools of thought. And our world should be about a fair amount of compromise on things that are worthy of compromise. There are things that are not. And those are, to me, those are biblical things. But I just because you can structure these districts, you can tailor them exactly to where your power is maximized. Mm-hmm. I just don't know that that's the wise thing to do. And I think that when the pendulum swings the other way eventually, right, you get to a teetering point where you go so far that there's enough backlash that when the roles get reversed, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Right.
Now, whether we ever get to that point, I don't know, but I just would offer the cautionary tale. The Reds are a game back in the wild card. They lost yesterday. The Twins defeated the Reds 7-0. So I was saddened to hear of that. But we'll continue to follow that over the rest of the week. Can you believe the regular season comes to an end on Sunday?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We watched a little bit of the Dodgers game last night, which was cool. So good ending.
The boys soccer team won last night, so that's good. They won, I think, 5-1 on senior night. And I think we got volleyball action tonight on K105 Digital Productions. So have that to look forward to. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. The most scenic fall drives in the United States. Coming up here on In the Know.
What do you call someone who puts your family's interests ahead of their own? Someone who takes time to listen without rushing you or passing judgment. Someone you can count on to help guide you through one of life's most difficult times. At Watkins Funeral Home, we call someone like that a friend of the family. For families making funeral arrangements in Litchfield, there's only one thing you need to know. You've got a friend at Watkins Funeral Home. For more information, visit us online at rogers-watkins.com.
For more than 70 years, Owensboro Health Twin Lakes Medical Center has cared for the health of our friends, neighbors, and family members in Grayson County and beyond. We've celebrated every beautiful newborn, every successful surgery, and every healed injury. Owensboro Health Twin Lakes Medical Center is focused on finding solutions to your health challenges. As part of the Owensboro Health System, we want to keep you healthy. We want to make you proud.
Thinking about furthering your education? At Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, you'll get a high-quality education close to home at a cost that won't break the bank. Enjoy small class sizes with professors who take a personal interest in your success. Scholarships are still available, making our low tuition even more affordable.
ECTC's Litchfield Classes is now enrolling for classes that start October 16th.
Visit elizabethtown.kctcs.edu to get started. ECTC, College for the Real.
Today, successful small businesses are lean, portable, and focused. If you're running your own business, you need to stay in tune to your customers, vendors, and employees. That doesn't leave much time for processing payroll and reporting, much less the overall performance of your business. The firm of Buckles, Travis, and Hart has a full offering of services for small businesses. Payroll processing, tax liability, unemployment, and financial reporting, just to name a few. Think of them like a built-in business manager, but they don't get sick and they don't ask for time off. Call or contact today to help get your business focused across the board. Buckles, Travis, and Hart, 270-259-5604, GraysonCPAs.com.
Do you or someone you know struggle with hearing issues? Many rural Kentuckians are underserved when it comes to hearing health care. That's why the Heiser Hearing Institute developed Kentucky Hears, a program aimed at removing barriers to care and providing equal access to hearing health care. Kentucky Hears offers everything from hearing screenings to cochlear implant resources. Visit kyhears.org to learn more. Kentucky Hears, because everyone deserves to experience the sound of life.
Google and the Department of Defense are collaborating on an artificial intelligence-powered microscope that can spot cancer. It's called the Augmented Reality Microscope, and Google and the DoD have been working on it for several years. The ARM is expected to cost between $90,000 and $100,000. More than half of Americans think big tech companies have too much power in the market. A survey on behalf of the American Economic Liberties Project shows 60% of Americans feel this way about companies including Google, Amazon, and Meta, with 63% of Democrats and 65% of Republicans feeling that big tech companies put competitors at a disadvantage, hurting small businesses and consumers. And Apple releases iOS 17 for iPhones on Monday. The biggest software update of the year is available to anyone with an iPhone that was released in 2018 or later. Improvements include lots of new widgets and upgrades to existing apps like Messages and Safari. Tech Report, Mark Mayfield.
Today is School Backpack Awareness Day. Kind of got tickled. Alea and Miss Buckles over there went yard sailing on Saturday morning, and Alea scored a new, I'll call it a purse.
Okay.
It's a messenger bag.
Messenger bag that converted her from a backpack to a bag, and it was quite the find. Quite the score.
It really was. I'm telling you, she got it at that price because she's cute.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
No doubt about it.
But she carried it in, and she put all her stickers on it, made sure her binder would fit in there, and she just abandoned the old backpack. Yeah. It's laying there on the hall tree.
It's hanging on the hook.
It'll be there sometime. Yeah. It's in her cubby.
Well, and it is, as far as backpacks go, I don't know if they're as heavy as what they used to be, but seriously.
That's why I have back problems.
Yes, exactly. You're right. Check your kid's backpack. Make sure they don't have a bunch of unnecessary crap in there because they're already heavy. I mean, but
I saw something on TikTok that was a someone my age that was a teacher and talking to her students, and she was like, "Oh, they're in the book covers. You know, when we used to have to get a book and keep it all year, and then you turned it back in, and the next class took it." Talking about the book covers, and these kids just could not understand why we had book covers. And she was like, "We also have back problems because all of those books we had to carry in our backpack. We don't have our phones
You had
and
at
our
least five. You had at least
electronic versions.
Five school books. Then add your
Yes.
notebooks and then whatever else you added in there.
Yeah.
It's Gibberish Day, and it's Pepperoni Pizza Day. You know how I like my
Yum.
pepperoni pizza?
I'm gonna have pepperoni pizza for lunch.
I do.
Actually.
I really like pepperoni pizza. I really do. But my favorite kind of pepperoni pizza is the kind where you add sausage and mushrooms.
Yes, I knew you were gonna say
and green
that.
pepper.
Yeah.
And
You really like
onion
a
and-
supreme
Sure,
pepperoni
but
pizza.
I mean, at its core,
It's a
isn't it
pepperoni
a
pizza.
pepperoni pizza? So, but I mean, I'll settle for the pepperoni. But my favorite kind is where you add all those other things too.
I could do it all, but the olives. I'm not a fan of the olives.
Oh, I love the olives.
I mean, I'll eat them. It's just not my favorite.
Yesterday was Talk Like a Pirate Day, so I celebrated by watching Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl.
Do you know we have a DVD player in our car, and we're not bougie, I promise. But this it came in the vehicle, and we had this, and my kids, that's the only movie that they'll watch in
That's funny.
that DVD
Yeah.
player.
It's 20 years old now.
Yes, and I love it.
It
It's
came
one
out
of
in
my favorites.
03, and Orlando Bloom was so young.
Yes.
And I have always known how many good one-liners are in that movie in the first one, and how, we've shared this with Alea because she's ridden the attraction several times, is that the movie was based off of the attraction, not the other way around.
Right.
And so many of the opening scenes, the first 20 minutes or so, is, they're in Port Royal, but they quickly go to Tortuga. And Tortuga is all about that area of Adventureland with the Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
And so it was just a nice reminder. But
And they redid that, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but they redid the pirates to make it look like the movie, correct?
yes, they did.
Okay.
They had to create the character of Jack Sparrow.
Right. I mean,
there was
that's-
no lead character for the attraction. There were just pirates in the abstract.
Yes. And I've been to the original one, but I don't know that I've been to the one since it's been redone.
But when they get to Tortuga and they go in the tavern, the Tortuga Tavern, the first person that walks across is the infamous redhead.
That's right.
That is on display in the attraction, and she comes through and slaps him.
Yep.
And she says, "I didn't deserve that." And then the next woman comes up and slapped him, and he says, "I might have deserved that."
one.
So anyway, it was good to get reacquainted with that. Fall is coming up. Fall officially arrives on Saturday, and depending upon where you are in the country, your fall color is progressing at different levels.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be very pretty here this year.
I fear that it will be too dry. It will dry. It's going to dry. It's still going to stay so
agree.
dry that the colors are going to turn and fall quickly.
Yeah.
Just because the chlorophyll? Yeah, the
Chlorophyll.
chlorophyll will disappear. And
Chloroform makes you go to sleep.
yes, that's I was thinking about. No, that's what you don't
you
want.
go.
Yeah.
Here are 6 scenic drives across the United States to get your fall foliage fix. There's the famous M119, which is in Michigan. The M stands for Michigan. It's like our highway, Kentucky Road 259. This is Michigan Road 119, which is apparently a very favorite destination. That's where they have it. Hugs Lake Michigan, and it's also known as the Tunnel of Trees. I'm going to give you a little. Secret place that I found that is really impressive. I discovered it by accident. I was leaving a UK football game, and traffic was really backed up on 60 on Versailles Road. And when you come up Red Mile, if you cross 60 and go on out, you hit Old Versailles Road.
Yes.
And it takes you out through all of those horse farms,
Yes.
and the trees have grown over and met one another, and there are multiple tunnels through there.
Yes.
And it's really pretty. If you've not been through that part of the state,
It's been a while, but I do know exactly where you're talking
do
about.
yourself a favor and take that in. There's the Salmon River Scenic Byway in Idaho. That's the Sawtooth Mountains around Stanley, Idaho. You also get the benefits of seeing a lot of moose and elk if you do that. The Appalachian Highlands Scenic Byway in Alabama. It's Menton, Alabama. It starts the old Union Crossing covered bridge built in 1863 and goes from there. High Road to Taos Scenic Byway in New Mexico. I have not been to Mexico. New Mexico. I mean, I went when I was really young, but I've not been as an adult.
Kyle wants to go so we can see. He wants to see where Breaking Bad was filmed.
I want to go just specifically so I can take the left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Because as I've told you many times before, most of what I know about life came from the Looney Tunes. Mm-hmm. And if Bugs Bunny says that I should have taken the left turn at Albuquerque,
you need to go do it.
I'm going to follow the advice.
Yep.
You don't have to tell me twice. Mohawk Trail Scenic Byway in Massachusetts. The Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina and Virginia. I'd say many people we know have traveled that one. So that's one of the more famous ones as well.
There's none in Kentucky or in Maine? I'm surprised.
Yeah, those are just the top 10 for various reasons. But you can craft your own. There are portions you get down around Falls of Rough in that area. So down where that resort is, I always noticed that when you were down there around the old mill in that area, you're kind of low, and you can see up on the ridge. You're kind of in a bowl of trees around there. So there are plenty of beautiful places around us to do. But nationally, those are some of the more infamous ones. We are, I guess, 7 weeks into the school year. Your mileage may vary depending upon when you started. And so my guess is the new has worn off the new school year by now.
Yeah.
And you might be fatigued with homework.
They're looking for fall break.
That's right. Well, and we were about 2 weeks into school, and I told Alea, like, fall break's in 5 weeks or whatever it was. So she's like, it is? Yeah. All you got to do is get to that point. Then when they start back after fall break, it's
like Thanksgiving break.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is only. Here are some basic homework tips. According to Scholastic, you should follow these rules of thumb to support your child during homework without going overboard. This one is hard. Stay nearby and available for questions without getting right in the middle of homework. Okay, that one maybe isn't as hard, but this one is hard. Avoid the urge to correct mistakes unless your child asks for help.
Oh, that would be hard for me.
Oh. I've been known to correct the teacher. So,
but
on the paper, I'm sorry. It's very hard.
Okay, can I make a statement, though?
Of course.
I am under, and of course, call me a millennial if you want to, but I am under the school of thought that homework is, my kids don't do much homework. Our teachers, they do work in the classroom, and if you don't get it finished in the classroom, that's when it becomes homework. The only kind of homework we're doing is we're practicing our multiplication facts. We are doing fluency. We're not actually getting worksheets where we have to do stuff at home. So we don't spend a lot. So there's not a lot of that critiquing part of it. Is we're working through that because we're supposed to, not necessarily because I'm.
For our second grader, she has homework, but it's a very modest amount of homework. But what she appears to spend more time on is that she progresses at a different level in certain subjects.
Sure.
She's doing work outside the classroom that is more tailored to her progress rather than here's your assignment everybody has to do tonight. It's not that there's none of that, but there's not as much. This is more stuff where it's modeled for her basic educational experience rather than actually homework.
Yeah.
But to the point of this, avoid the urge to correct mistakes. I don't know any parent that enjoys just sitting back and watching their child fail at anything.
Right.
But riding that line of knowing when the failure is worth the lesson.
That's so hard to do.
Yes.
Or you look back and go, I could have prevented that whole thing. And you can't go through life preventing everything because ultimately you can't. Eventually they grow up. But trying to find the balance between those two may be one of the hardest things about parenting.
I would agree with that, especially knowing, when I think we've had this conversation recently about how letting your kids either get in trouble or have that consequence of, because as an adult, you're going to have the same consequence.
Yeah. Instead of nagging, set up a homework routine with a dedicated time and place, and then teach time management for a larger project by helping them break it into chunks. So there's
Unless
some
you don't
homework
know
guides.
about said project until the night before.
We haven't hit that stage
haven't
yet, but
either.
I've been through it before.
Yes.
The old Sunday night surprise.
Yeah. We don't, like I said, once again, we've had really good luck. Even in the middle school, we're not doing a whole lot of extra work. We're doing study guides and that sort of thing, but it's not to that extent.
Do
yet.
tools like Remind help stave off
Love
some
it.
of that?
Love
Some
it.
of those surprises?
Yes.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of Remind. And Remind is only as good as the person facilitating or the person using it, the teacher, the
I agree with that.
administrator or whatever. If you as a teacher don't use it, it's not effective.
Much like most tools. You
Yes.
know, most
Right.
tools in a toolbox are only as good as the person who picks them up and
But we are blessed
uses
this
them.
year with that, especially.
I have really good ones too for both my kids.
in case you're following along, or in case you're not following along, but would like to know, there's a big argument on the internet right now about what color Fanta is.
Is it the
Alrighty
black
then.
Fanta that we talked about last
No,
week?
it's the normal. It's the orange color.
It's
but
orange.
People want to debate. I think they're getting down into the different what that color of orange actually is. I
Who
think. So,
cares? It's orange.
first world problems,
That's what
Yeah.
without
you
a
need
doubt.
something to do. I come to my office, I'll put you to work.
I saw some video on Sunday from Kroger Field during I think it was at the end of the third quarter. There was a fight at the UK football game involving some people from
Marion
County. I think we learned yesterday were from Marion County. They might not have only been from there, but there were people from there involved. And you had a lot of people who said, see, they start
That's
selling
that,
beer.
yep.
Start selling beer at the games. And I actually disagree with that. I think that fight is a byproduct of it being a night game.
Yes.
Because it's a lot like sports wagering. If you never thought there was alcohol being consumed at Kroger Field, you're delusional.
yeah.
In the same
Just take
way
a
that-
walk through the parking lot.
That's exactly right. And so you have a day long of, and so I'm using that as an on-ramp to a Patriots fan died after getting into a fight on Sunday at Gillette Stadium. He got punched. A 53-year-old man got punched, I think, by a Broncos fan, and he became unconscious and never recovered and died. There was a Bengals fan. Sam said there was a big headbutt that I didn't see, but said there was something
Yeah.
pretty vicious that happened Sunday in Cincinnati. And so you have these together, and I don't necessarily, I would never argue that alcohol doesn't play a factor.
Sure.
But I don't think you can draw a line to the decision that UK made. It is a global misuse rather than, but I think there's just something now about people, they just want to fight.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was gonna
know
s-
why suddenly post-pandemic, it can we agree it's much worse post-pandemic than before?
100%.
And so this is not necessarily a fight, but it does indicate just people are off the rails. A construction site at the home of the new Buffalo Bills Stadium received an unexpected visitor on Sunday as the team took on the Raiders. Police were called to the area of Eric County Community College security as they handled the area outside of the fencing. They said a 29-year-old naked man who was covered in feces jumped into a pit at the construction site in Buffalo. He was under the influence of a mixture of drugs, including alcohol. This says LSU. I think that's probably LSD. Cocaine. And
They got the Cajun sauce.
they do
huh?
some weird things at LSU, too. Cocaine and
Sorry
marijuana.
to my Cajun
And
friends.
needed to scale a 10-foot fence to get into the site. What is... Seriously.
There's a lot. There's a lot there.
It's only going to get worse from here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what? I don't...
Yeah.
Whoa. People are cray-cray. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. Got today's Did You Know and plenty more on the way here on In the Know.
McDonald's presents Burger Reviews by Hamburglar. Today's review, the best ever Big Mac burger. Take it away, Hamburglar.
Rubble, rubble.
He said, there's more special sauce in every bite.
Rubble, rubble.
He said, rubble, rubble.
Rubble, rubble.
Rubble, rubble indeed, my friend.
Buy McDonald's Best Big Mac and get a free order of medium fries. Only in the app. Offer valid once per day through October 2nd at participating McDonald's. Excludes tax. Must opt into rewards.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This is Kentucky, where the only thing ordinary is the unexpected.
I got everything you need.
Horse country, legendary distilleries, rivers to paddle, lakes to splash and relax, big city vibes and small town charms. This is Kentucky. Come see for yourself. Plan your road trip at KentuckyTourism.com.
I got everything you need.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Taxes 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Cougar Sports is officially underway, and T-Shirt Express, the bright pink building on the square, has you covered. Parents, students, and fans of Cougar Sports, choir, and band will find a variety of selections to cheer the Cougars on. T-Shirt Express also offers laser engraving, embroidery, memorial items, and they welcome all design ideas. T-Shirt Express, the bright pink building on the square, for all of your Cougar and personalization needs.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather.
Temperatures will have a summer-like feel to them over the course of the next few days and even into the weekend. For today, though, a high of 86 degrees under a partly cloudy sky. For tomorrow, 86 once again. By Friday, a high of 88 degrees. We don't expect rain to return to the forecast until potentially next week. From the Wave Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Jessica Dobson.
Did you know? We have all this talk about electric cars these days. Did you know electric cars were introduced in 1896, and by the end of the century, prior to 1900, almost 50% of the cars worldwide were electric. Then we went to combustion, and now we're cycling back to electric, or it appears some people are cycling back to electric. That's today's Did You Know? The Kevin Costner, Christine Baumgartner divorce is finalized. They were able to settle that. And the prenup did get enforced. So, in case you were scoring at home. I told you last week we're going to get one more Jimmy Buffett album. And I was loading sticks and loading on a burn pile over the weekend, and I had my Jimmy Buffett Essentials playlist on. And this song came on. I thought, I never heard this song before.
We're just treading water each day.
So they took a diving phrase and turned it into positivity.
To feel better, be well set to weather the storms till the sun shines again. When your compass is spinning and you're lost on the way, like a leaf in the wind, friend, hear me when I say, bubbles up, they will point you towards home. No matter how deep or how far you roam.
I thought,
That's perfect.
Wow, perfect.
That's a good song.
I mean,
Yeah.
your goodbye song, right? I mean, it's just like if you had to leave the world with one message. And so I was like, wow. And the thing is, as I was listening to the song on, I don't know, it was Friday, I guess, I thought, how have I never heard this song? And I learned yesterday, well, this is why, because it's brand new. It's on the album that's going to come out in October 1st. So the album drops, and it just was released to all of us like yesterday.
So when did he? So when did that album get?
I think it had to be spring, summer, because he really has not been in very good health since the summer.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And so, but I just, it had a real humble and kind feel to it, the Tim McGraw song, and it bubbles up, and just that lifestyle, that trop rock, that diving, that romanticism of the sea, and taking a diver's phrase that just follow the bubbles, right? I mean, if you just follow the bubbles when you're diving, then they will, they won't lead you astray. So I just thought it was really, really well done. The Dancing with the Stars explaining why they are continuing their show amid strikes. I mean, Big Brother is as well, and Survivor is, and it's all that. They have, I think, on that show on Dancing with the Stars, they had one writer. But I think they are going to be able to do without. And Bill Maher walked his back. He said they were going back. Drew Barrymore said they were going back. Bill Maher said he was going back. They've both retreated. So I guess they felt the threat. Good news for Vanna White fans. She has extended her Wheel of Fortune tenure through 25-26. No details were released, so I don't know if she got paid like she wanted to get paid, but she apparently got paid enough to stay. Do not be surprised when you don't see her in an upcoming episode. There are going to be 5 episodes of Wheel of Fortune that Maggie Sajak is turning the letters, if we still call it turning the letters. Maggie Sajak is the one walking from one end of the puzzle to the other, pretending to touch the screens. It's because Vanna got sick. She was sick for a day and missed taping, and I don't think it was like blue flu. I think she really was sick, but it happened to kind of coincide that when you suddenly don't see her, you think, oh,
yeah,
but she's walked out. But no, it was due to an illness. Disney Plus is unveiling their plan to increase their price on October 12th as part of their new strategy. The monthly subscription fee is slated to jump from a reasonable $10.99 to a slightly steeper $13.99, about a 27% increase. That's the no ads. That's the premium no ads strategy. And like I've told you before, if I calculate the amount of time that I save by being able to skip through or to be able to, when I go, is that worth $3 a month to me? Always the answer is going to be yes. It just is going to be. And I would imagine she's watching some other things from Paramount, iCarly, and some other things. We probably get, well, at least our kid gets more content from this platform than probably any other.
Oh, yeah.
And as a family, we enjoy it together. We spend together time watching this. Last night, I watched Pirates on Disney Plus. So I just, all the content being on
even
there.
if we're all doing something, it is not uncommon for the old school Mickey cartoons to be playing in the background. Just because that's
or the shorts that we love so much,
shorts.
Homespun Melody and Potato Land.
I
and
love the with the little bird. Do you remember the
And then the one about Chinatown.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about necessarily the Mickey
and the Checkers one,
but
or not the Checkers, but
next up, Chinatown.
Yeah,
or as they say in these parts, Chinatown.
Chinatown.
All right, and I have the Hallmark has revealed their full schedule of 2023 holiday movies. So it starts Friday, October 20th, and it goes Thursday, December 21. I have all of them. What do you feel like should be a proper asking price to Yukon Cornelius and the Strawberry Queen? They would love to put their hands on these Hallmark movie schedules, and I have it in its full volume. What should I sell this to them for?
I don't know.
Are they looking to move?
They're looking to relocate.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, relocate within our general area.
Right. Okay. So I would like to counter. I would like some vintage, Like, I bet they have some vintage, like, Christmas decorations, right?
Oh.
Right? If they love all these Christmas
So you'd like
Hallmark
to barter?
movies,
You like to
yes.
barter the Hallmark
Yes.
movies list for some vintage
yes,
decorations?
For a vintage, yes.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
I'm gonna
You-
see if I can negotiate.
You're
that.
responsible for
Okay.
negotiations
All right.
in that department, so good luck. A little more bubbles up as we get to break. We'll come back. Point to ponder, pearl of wisdom, chart to toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
Half as bad as the bends. Sometimes living's a struggle, multiplied double, but they love it too much for the party to end. Bubbles up.
If you have more than one child, I'm guessing you've seen your share of sibling conflict. With 2 boys of my own, I know what it's like to watch brotherly love explode into a shouting match in the blink of an eye. But even if brothers or sisters are prone to conflict, we can still teach them how to be peacemakers in the home and to solve their own disagreements. The first step is to help children understand that there are healthy ways to resolve their differences. Sometimes we forget that a child won't be equipped with the tools they need until we put them in their hands. And that's why they blame their sibling or use cruel remarks or even physical aggression. They haven't yet learned another way. Teach them instead to overlook an offense and to forgive the person who hurt them. Or help your children sit down and talk through their disagreement. With a little direction from you, they might find it's easier than they thought to solve their problem. And if your child isn't sure how to handle a conflict, remind them you're always available to give them some advice. We all make choices that can help or hinder relationships. And that's a lesson kids need to learn early on, because the ability to deal with conflict with others is a skill they'll need throughout their lives. Tomorrow, I'll share a few more tips that will help you raise young peacemakers. In the meantime, to help your kids thrive, visit FocusOnTheFamily.com. I'm Jim Daly.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. This is why so many people are joining Medishare right now. Medishare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medishare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. Medishare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLLE.
Johnny was a schoolboy when he heard his first Beatles song. Love me do, I think it was, and from there it didn't take him long.
MB's Point to Ponder for
Got
today.
himself a guitar, used to play.
Is parenting like redoing your childhood, but in spectator mode?
A little bit, yeah. A lot of it is.
You know, like, this feels familiar,
Yeah.
but you don't, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Ponderance number 2. You ever know how, if you, this is a men thing. I don't think ladies do this, or at least not a lot. If you're a guy and you walk through and you do like, you know, like head nod up, like your head goes, that's like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Right? But if you walk through and you go, you nod down,
Uh-huh.
that's hello, sir. You ever notice that? Like you see somebody,
okay.
you see your bro, you go,
What's up?
what's
Yeah.
up, bro?
Uh-huh.
Hey, and your head goes up. But if you nod,
You nod
go,
down like
hello,
to an older person or someone that you're,
hello, yeah,
that you were.
hello, sir. How are you?
Interesting.
So, but it's you know, there's on television, slim pickings. I mean, it's only.
Well, we were laughing the other night because The Rock was on WWE. He came back because they were in Colorado or something. Of course, he was on game day and all that. And I told Kyle, I said, he is either in between movies or the writer's strike has him just kind of hanging out. I said, because he's back on WWE.
They got nothing to do. They played Yellowstone on CBS the other night. It drew 6.6 million viewers. It was the most watched entertainment program of the week. It was the highest rating since the NCIS season finale in May. So, American Horror Stories Delicate on FX and Hulu, the season 12 premiere. I don't know what that means. Perhaps you do. MasterChef on Fox, the season 21 finale, part 2. And season 1 finale of Superfan on CBS. That is, I think tonight's artist is Kelsey Ballerini, and I presume Big Brother is on tonight. Usually Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday.
7 Central.
It is 7 Central tonight.
Mm-hmm. Kyle's been watching the challenge again. I think it's got some Big Brother, some Survivor. It's got a lot of different ones on there this time.
We've got Paramount Plus, so we could go back and watch it. But I'm tempted to give Josh Duhamel's Buddy Games a shot because they brought Josh Duhamel into Big Brother last week and did a contest. I guess it was a veto competition. Yeah. And so it seemed like it could be fun. It's a whole lot of just those camp games that you used to play, like carrying an egg on a spoon.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Today's highlight in history, this date in 1973, their so-called Battle of the Sexes. Tennis stars Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs in straight sets. In 1519, Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, who was gelling like a felon, if I recall correctly, and his crew set out from Spain on 5 ships to find a western passage to the Spice Islands. Jim Croce died in a plane crash in Louisiana this day, 1973. 50 years to go today. Mm-hmm. In 2017, Hurricane Maria, the strongest storm to hit Puerto Rico in more than 80 years, struck the island. Birthday, Sophia Loren is 89. Gary Cole is 67. Gary Cole has most recently, he's kind of stepped into the Jethro Gibbs role on NCIS. Mm. He's an FBI agent that's been reassigned to the NCIS. He's been in some other things too. And then the twins, Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, are 56 today. Upton Sinclair was born this date in 1878. Red Auerbach was born this date in 1917. Michael Chiklis has done a really great job on Winning Time playing Red Auerbach. They got a really great cast. I'm sad that that show's not going to season 3. Chart toppers, got room for about one. In 54, The Four Lads with Skokian. In 1963, Martha and Vandella's Heat Wave. Chicago Saturday in the Park, number 1, 1972. 1981, Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty. Heartbreakers were around too. Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Belle Biv DeVoe, Do Me in 90. Bayamos, Enrique Iglesias in 99. Neo, Closer in 08. And Despacito, number 1, 6 years ago today. Stop dragging my heart. It's one of those, I was telling you, Stevie was in some great duets, including with Tom Petty. All right, MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Whitney, thanks for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
Good to see you. Hope to see you next week. I know you'll be in full fall break mode by the time we see you next week.
I hope so.
Or looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you won't have checked out. You'll just be ready for it.
Yep.
MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today says, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know, and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Whitney Carmen, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powering through the Twin Lakes with the best mix of music, news, weather, and fun. If it's in the Twin Lakes, it's on